So I want to share a few basic items about what philosophy is and what it means to actually do philosophy. Philosophy, as you might understand from the etymology of it, really literally means the love of wisdom or being a friend of wisdom. So to be involved in philosophy, to do philosophy means at the outset to seek wisdom, to try to be a wiser person, to have the will to grow in your understanding of the world, your understanding of yourself, your understanding of other human beings. And it's really a wonderful exercise. It's kind of a raw, bare bones exercise. It's a basic exercise in trying to understand all of these different factors, all these different elements of human existence, what it means to be alive and what it means to be a thinking person. So I wanted to share what I feel are four very important commitments when we're doing philosophy, when we are loving wisdom, when we are seeking after wisdom. The first one is a commitment to logic and language, to logical language. And one of the reasons why this is a very important, maybe the fundamental or elementary first commitment, is because without precise language, without carefully chosen words, and without a commitment to logical consistency, we're not really going to be able to have very much of a productive conversation. We won't really progress in our understanding of the world or in our exchanges with one another. We need to be committed, at least, to using or to developing a way of viewing the world that does not really contradict itself, something that is logically consistent. And one of the most fundamental elements of logic is non-contradiction, right? So we don't want to contradict ourselves. We also don't want to develop a line of thinking that will end up coming back around and contradicting itself. Now, this may seem, hopefully, it doesn't seem terribly complicated, um, but I'm not necessarily asking at the outset for you to have already developed a logically consistent worldview. I'm asking for a commitment to doing so. So as we progress through this course, I would love for you to be regularly thinking about the language that you're using, your terms, your systems of thought, and whether there are any inconsistencies in that. If there are, then we can confront those. We can examine them, try to point out the kinks in our worldview in our paradigm, and then move forward and try to resolve them. All right, so logic and language, right? Language that is clear and language that at least attempts to be consistent with itself. Okay, the second commitment that I am looking for is observation. In other words, some people might describe this as kind of an empirical approach, an approach where you are interested in looking at the world around you, reading articles carefully, and kind of accepting what you see around you, not necessarily accepting the fullness of what might be associated with it or what it might trick you into thinking at first, but a willingness to look around, to absorb information, or a willingness um, to perceive and to apprehend, right, to get some new things out of the world, right, and out of the readings that you might do and the people that you might be engaged in. So, logical language, observation. The third commitment, the third kind of approach, the third way of thinking about philosophy that I would ask you to be faithful to is virtue. Virtue meaning integrity, a commitment to honesty, patience, also maybe humility, the recognition that we may be wrong about one or a few or a great many things. There have been cases where people have kind of reinvented their entire worldview after having realized that they might have been mistaken earlier on. This is part of the process of doing philosophy, and that does require a little bit of patience. It requires some courage, right? Courage to admit that to admit that there is something else. There's another way of viewing the world that is worth worth entertaining, worth considering. So yeah, patience. Many of these different virtues, even the virtues of compassion, right? Compassion and I'm sparking a little bit of compassion, integrity, and those approaches, those character features that enable you to listen to other people and to pay attention to what they might be feeling, what they might be thinking at various points. There are a number of different virtues that people identify, but oh, also justice, right? Being fair and trying to be, and in a sense, that is the idea of logical consistency sort of built into a sense of justice as well. Traditionally, the four cardinal virtues have been wisdom and justice, courage, and also moderation or temperance. So anyway, just kind of a commitment to virtue, a commitment to being honest and forthright and courageous as you do philosophy, right? So that's the third one. So love and language, observation, virtue, and then the fourth commitment that I would ask for in philosophy is engagement, right? The fact that you're willing and interested in dialoguing with other people, interacting with other ideas, and doing so in a way that that doesn't necessarily pretend like you already have everything figured out, but in a way that's a little bit more open-minded and receptive to new ideas, even receptive to corrections. Right? Many of us make mistakes. I make mistakes. All of us make mistakes. The question is not whether we're going to continue to make mistakes. The questions really are we going to maybe make fewer and fewer mistakes out of improving in our ability to do philosophy and our ability to think and to think critically? So the ability to correct our own mistakes, and also the ability to be corrected, the ability to recognize that somebody might have spotted an error, and if they do spot an error in your thinking, try not to resist it, right? Have the virtue of humility and the recognition that, oh, yes, that you've made a very good point. Thank you for correcting me, right? That should be hopefully our approach when we're doing philosophy. So just wanted to share those things. Logical language, observation, virtue, and engagement, right, in our interaction. And you might have noticed that those four commitments that I'm asking us all to make as we embark on this journey through philosophy, those commitments all together spell as an acronym love. And philosophy really is the love of wisdom. I think, and this is just kind of me waxing on my soapbox, doing philosophy with others, I think gives us another way to express love for our common human being, our common and fellow humans. So I just want to offer that as one of the ways in which I think about philosophy and one of the reasons why I love doing philosophy. It helps me learn about other people. It also helps me learn about myself. And it also helps me and helps all of us be better human beings. So anyway, thank you for joining me on this course. And I look forward to what's to come. Thanks.